Yeah, that's the thing about probably I don't want to put words in your mouth, but there's probably a point
Go
where
ahead.
your acting career is going and your music career is going, and they're both like this.
Somewhat. I never, ever, as I said, thought I would make money as a musician. I actually have sold, well, recorded songs that have been on television shows and things like that. Much to my surprise, people find something, and I think a couple times didn't even know I was an actor. Just found the song and
Yeah.
wanted to use it for their film or TV show. That's very flattering, but I never. I know the music business is, I think, more weasels per capita than the film business,
Yeah,
and it's
more.
a difficult place to. I put it this way: I've known guys in the '90s and early 2000s out in LA who had songs that were charting and were broke. It's hard to get paid as a musician, and getting paid isn't the point to me, but it just seemed like a rough life to try to do professionally, and I never considered myself. I'm not being coy, but talented enough to a musician, talented enough a musician to pull that off. So it's always just been something almost more important than some kind of career, and again, food. I think for me is how I would describe it.
Do you separate in your head the opportunity to do the big films as well as the smaller independent films? Are they two separate things for you, or is acting? It's either on the page or it's not?
Yeah, I've been on the page, I've been on the stage, and I've been in a lot of big films. I've got nothing against big movies. Unfortunately, it feels like studios over the last. I remember growing up in the late '60s and into the mid '70s, where the studios seemed to make mid-level budget movies for adults, and that seems to have lessened a great deal over the years.
A lot.
So I feel like independent film picks up that mantle, that independent film fills the void, I guess I would say. That, studios seem more interested in cartoons and explosions, and don't get me wrong, studios make great movies every year. I haven't been asked to be part of too many of them, and so...
You had a good part in Perfect Storm.
Yeah, I did.
That was a big film that worked.
I think so.
It did
Yeah,
work.
it did. I hope so. I don't really separate by the budget or don't really delineate by budget. It's just trying to find it always begins with a script and a great script. I'm in Steven Spielberg's Lincoln movie.
Yeah.
In very much a supporting role. There are 150.
Yeah, but you're one of the three guys.
150 speaking parts. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm anxious to see it.
It's really good.
No kidding.
Yes.
Well, the appeal there was first and foremost Tony Kushner's script. I read it, and it was just one of the best scripts I'd read in many years.
Yeah, you're in a film about how to pass legislation.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really about the Civil War. It's about
No, it's true.
It's really about the details of what it really takes, and those details are the exact same now as they were then.
Yes, and
In many ways.
Deadwood taught me the same. Mr. Milch was very wise in portraying this microcosm of Deadwood, this lawless, anarchic place with no rules and basically the kind of, I wouldn't call it a dirty little secret, but the kind of the underneath the whole of Deadwood was the idea of how culture and civilization form. How order is achieved, and I feel like that hasn't changed probably in thousands of years. It has to do with blood and grift and certainly some nobility, but a great deal of backroom, under the table kinds of dealings.
You worked with another great Texas actor, the great Stephen Tobolewsky,
Mm-hmm.
in Deadwood.
Love him. Yeah.
Love that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Been through a lot lately, and he's doing really well.
Really?
Yeah, he had some health issues recently.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear
Overcame a
that.
total, saw him last week and
Mhm.
said to tell you hi.
Oh, he's fantastic.
Yeah. He's
Tell
written a
him
book.
about
He's
that.
just published a book about all the stories that he's been telling
It's
for years,
fantastic.
which he has.
I'll read it.
So when you think of the big and the small and the medium and whatever they are, where does me and you and everyone you know fit into there?
Well, again, it was just such a terrific script. I'm not sure if I start to look at like an overview of the work I've done, it starts to feel like I'm almost finishing up, and I hope I'm not. So maybe I'll have more reflection time later. But that film, again, not everyone's cup of tea, but when I read it, I was incredibly moved and really wanted to be part of it. And it did really well at Sundance, and I guess my visibility broadened from the film, and it's not a bad thing at all.
No, it's a good thing, actually.
Well,
You really pick parts. Parts pick you and you pick them, because you have to both agree. And
I
that
think so.
process is always really, really interesting. But when you decide to say yes to a part, it might be a part that everyone else would say yes to, but you have to make it work for yourself, because there's something inner about it. Am I correct?
I think so. Yeah, it's a personal thing. It's hard to describe. Again, it begins with the script as a whole, and then I look for a role that I feel I could do well with. Although I begin every movie by admitting to myself the best way for me to begin any project is to say I have no idea how to do this, and then begin to solve the problems. But there's just a feeling that I'd be a person who would serve the story well. So I look for a great script, a role that's important to the story, and capable storytellers behind the whole thing.